Hello guys, back again with another video. In this video I'm going to be taking you through the basics of our SQL injection using an automated tool which is SQLMAP. But before we start, this video is strictly made for educational purposes only, and all the testing shown in this video is performed on a controlled environment, which is the Vuln web. Simply this was made vulnerable so that you can go on and test your web app pen test skills. Now, in case you are new to my channel, please you can subscribe, turn on that notifications icon so that you don't miss any of the videos that I'll be uploading. And you can also feel free to give a thumbs up to this video so that YouTube can also share it via its algorithm. So now let's go on and try. I will be leaving the link of this website in the description so that you can also go on and try this. Now onto this website, simply it is vulnerable to a couple of vulnerabilities. We can just go on and click to add this, and we can click to this user. Now once you have a target website which you want to go on and test if it is vulnerable to SQL injection, like this link, when you try to see it ends with a question mark artist equals 1. Simply this artist, it is a variable whereby it is equating to 1. I'm going to go on and provide a single quote in case we want to test if this is vulnerable to our SQL injection. So if I press enter, we are going to see the message that will be returned back. So when you try to see here, we've tried to break down the application whereby a single quote will go on and stop our query that is being submitted to our database, forcing it to return back a error. Simply this is called a error-based SQL injection. Now with this, at least we can know that our application is vulnerable to SQL injection. So I'm going to go on and copy this link. This is what we shall be using to our SQLMAP. So if we open up our terminal, in case you do not have SQLMAP installed onto your Kali Linux, you are going to just say sudo apt install SQLMAP. But this comes primarily installed. You can just call it with just typing SQLMAP, and let's go on and use a -h. With this -h, it will go on and display the help that you might need to start using our SQLMAP. Now when you try to see here with just a single H, they will give us the basic help, but in case we need the advanced one, you can just use a -hh. We have a couple of different flags that we can use with this tool, whereby we have one which is a -u that we can use and provide the URL to our target, and a couple of others that you are going to be seeing in play. So I'm going to go on and clear my terminal. If we are trying to test our website, we are going to just say SQLMAP with our -u. Make sure you put your target in quotes. So we are going to paste our link. I can just give it a protocol just to be on a safer side, which is going to be HTTP. Then at our extreme end, we are looking for our databases. So here we are going to say --dbs, and we are going to say -- our batch. So you can go on and read through what these tags do. But here with our --dbs, is going to look for the databases, and for a batch it will simply leave SQLMAP to go on with our default behavior. So if I press enter, we can just give it a few seconds. You will see that our information will be returned back, and we can proceed from there when we're trying to dig more on our target. Now, as you try to see all the information that was returned back from our command, we are seeing two databases which are present, whereby we have this database and we also have this database. Now, having access to our database, we can go on and look for the tables. We know that a database has multiple tables inside it. Now, how can we look for those tables? Simply, we can use the same command, but we are going to just go on and add on just the flag of tables and also allocate the database that we are going to be using. So I'm going to go on and clear my terminal. We are going to be using the same command, but this time, instead of the -dbs, we are going to say -d with a capital D. and we get the name of the database that we want to go on and use to find the tables which are inside. So with our -d, I paste the name of the table, and we are going to provide the flag of our table. Just go on and type tables. So if we press enter and you are successful, our information from the table will be returned back. Now you might say, why is it a bit faster? In the practical world it will be a bit slower. This is because the site that we're trying to test was simply made vulnerable. Of course, in the real world you can be stopped by your WAF and other security terminologies. But coming back here, you see we do have a couple of tables in our database of the database that we provided. Now we can go on and try to see if we can dump out columns from these tables. Since we have a table for users, products, pictures, users sounds okay, because you never know, we might find a password to our user and we try to log in using that. So to find our columns, I'm going to go on and clear my terminal, come back here. Now to find our columns in our tables, we can simply use the same thing, but I'm going to just come back and remove the minus tables. We are going to add on a -t and provide the table name that we want to use, and the table name, it will be users. Now here we are going to say minus column. With this column, since we are looking for our columns from the table, so if we press enter, also we can give it some time, our information will be dumped out. As you try to see here, they say that we have 8 columns in this table for users. Now if you know your SQL, we know that if you go on and type describe and the table name, they will give you the same information like what we have here, whereby we do have our field name and we do also have the data type. Now since we know what we are playing around with, the columns and also their data types, we can simply proceed to dumping out information from this database and specifically to this table of users. Now we have 2 commands here. One takes the full database, but we can go with the first one, whereby we can just dump out our information from this table. So I'm going to go on and clear my terminal, use the same command, but this time we are going to use a command of a -tab. So let me just go on and you clear these columns and let's say dump. So if I press enter, information from this table is going to be dumped out and it will be saved on our computer. As you try to see here, they say that they want to use a common password suffix, and it is doing its magic. So let's give it a few seconds. The information will be dumped to our computer. Now as you try to see here, our information was returned back, and down here we do have a message that the information of users in this database has been saved in a CSV file, and this is the path in case you're trying to look for that onto your computer. And another command that we can use is for dump all. This one will go on and dump out all the information from our database. We don't need to allocate the table. Simply it will just proceed to dump all information from the tables. Now if we use the previous command, I'm going to just come back and add on a -all, and let's go on and remove the users. So this is how the command will be. With a -d, we provide a database. With a dump all and our batch. So if we press enter, all information from our database, simply all the tables that we do have in this database, the information is going to be dumped out. So also we are going to come back when the dumping is done. Now when you try to see a couple of information has been dumped out from our database, and we do have lots of values that were returned back, and they were also saved in the same location. Now here we can just go on and let's say if we want to use a log file on our SQLMAP, How can we do that? So let's say we have a tool like our BAP suite. We can just go on and set up our proxy to listen. So let me go on and turn on our interceptor, and we can check maybe the history. Now if the interceptor is on, I can come back perhaps to my browser. Let's say you are back to artist, and let's come back and turn on our BAP suite or connect to our BAP suite. Let me go on and turn on the BAP with my Fox proxy so that we can intercept the request that will be sent. So with my Fox proxy on, though, I see, yeah, they say it is turned on. So I'm going to go on and tap perhaps on this user. You see that right away our BAP has intercepted. So I'm going to go on and click to this, right click, I'm going to add it to scope. Then I'm going to come here to proxy settings. Let me activate the scope. Just put a tick here, scroll down, and also put a tick here. So simply we are going to be playing around with what we have in scope. So you can proceed to close this. Now I'm going to get this request and let's forward it to our repeater. So I've right clicked and say forward to repeater, and let's come here to our repeater. Now this is the information that is being submitted. We have intercepted that, and we can save this file if we are to use BAP suite. Let's say if this is a log of our website. Now to use this log, I'm going to just go on, right click and say save item. We can provide a location where we want to save this file. I can just say log file. I'm not going to give it a extension, but if you want, you can provide it with a extension. Just know the path where your file is going to be saved, and I'm going to just say save. Now our log file has been saved. How can we use this log file with our SQLMAP? I'm going to just come back with my SQL, and I'm going to clear my terminal. To use our log file, we are going to just say SQLMAP with our -L. This time we are not going to use the -U. We need a log file with a -U and say log file. You can provide it a path to where the file is. So it is log file. You can provide a path to where the file is, and perhaps let's go on and say minus our batch. So if we press enter, our SQLMAP will go on and read that file, and it will return back all the data. Now when it ready to see, it's still the same case. Let me just go on and add on the -dbs and press enter. So when it's ready to see, our databases are going to be dumped out, the same thing like what we did earlier. So these are just few basics to SQLMAP, but it has a couple of functions that you can go on and use. Now in case I'm to create a part 2, you'll be able to see it on my channel. Once again, this video is strictly for educational purposes only. In case you want to see more videos, please you can subscribe, give the thumbs up to this video so that it can be shared to multiple users. Have a great day. Peace.